Так, ну, дорогие друзья, первым ударом.
So, dear friends, with the first hit at the drummer, Fyodor Sigaev will unveil our conference. Regrettably, we have a bit overdone with the weather. That's why not everyone has gathered here, and it is well known that a lot of our foreign guests were dreaming of having a look at a real Moscow winter, but they did not succeed before, and this year we decided to host our conference at Moscow State University, which is the main intellectual center of our country and maybe the world. Like mathematician Grigory Perelman said, why do I need your award if I know how to rule the world? And it looks like that MSU knows how to rule the world, and they arranged very good weather with a lot of snow for our conference. Therefore, we can now begin, at least those who are here. And let me give the floor to the welcoming word to the representative of Moscow State University, Mikhail Lugachov, who is professor of economic IT chair and PhD. And he will give us some welcoming remarks from the university. Thank you very much. I'm really happy to welcome you on behalf of the leadership of our department. Our chair is the closest point of contact between IT and economics, and well, have you heard what I've said? Let me go on then. Our chair was founded in 1994, and it is called economic IT. So our department has always been willing to be in the trend of developing economics and the matters of economics of IT systems and using IT in economics, and efficiency of this usage has always been of interest to us. If we have economy of agriculture, economy of industry, how can we go on without economy of IT? With that in mind, the decision was really topical and correct to host a conference here. And it's worth saying that economy and economics around 50 years ago got close to IT when tasks of managing stocks were formed, and there was a scientific basis of industrial engineering and enterprise management. So we have been moving towards each other for a long time, and we have met now, not because Mr. Putin voiced the need of digital information back in December, but it has been a long-awaited need, and now the circumstances are really the most favorable, and we have always treated the data with respect, because data always given us information on the best decision-making, and in the current conditions, data allow us to get added value, and added value is a natural lever of economic growth. And we have seen that data only, without attracting huge material assets, we can get a lot of income. And globally, there are a lot of companies, Facebook, Google, Microsoft, but first of all Facebook, naturally, that makes huge money only through data processing. Back in 2016, I believe you know it, that 5 largest companies of the world in terms of market capitalization were IT companies, and we can name them. That is Microsoft, Alphabet, Amazon, Facebook, and I believe Alibaba or Airbnb. And in 2015, ExxonMobil joined them as well, but in 2016 there were no material or tangible asset companies on top. And in 2017, this context even went further. This company showed capitalization growth. The ordinary growth of 2, 3, 4% is ordinary, but some companies showed over 50% growth. So this trend is really well formed and clear. So it is also clear that economists track and trace this, follow this, and participate in this process. Our chair is not aside either. We have an all-department R&D seminar on digital economy, and I would be happy to see you there. It takes place every first Wednesday in P6 hall, and we have also a section of economic IT. And we have an annual international conference on IT education, and we would be happy to see you there as well. That is it. So I wanted to stress how naturally IT and economy paths have merged. And I'm happy to welcome you here and congratulate you with launching this beautiful conference, and I'm sure that our links will strengthen thanks to company and conference like yours. Thank you very much for your attention and all the best to you. Good luck. Thank you very much. And let me now call Bruce Momjan. He is one of the co-founders of Postgres Developer Global Group, and I believe everybody knows Bruce, so he is here on the stage.
It's certainly a pleasure to be here again in Moscow to welcome you to another very exciting Postgres conference. I've been involved with our Moscow developers for a couple decades now, and obviously there have been some major growth in that period. Let me turn this off, sorry. Maybe that's causing problems here. There we go. So I just came from a conference in Brussels, and Oleg Bartunov was there, as well as Alexander Korotkov, and we had a very nice time presenting many of the innovative things that we've come to expect from our many Russian developers. When we started with Postgres, I started 21 years ago, we've always had a very strong representation from the Russian development community, but in the past 2 or 3 years, we've seen a huge increase in the number of developers who are in Russia and the number of Postgres users in Russia. And certainly, the size of this audience is a great indication of that. I always knew there was great potential in Russia for Postgres, and it's been tireless work by many people, a lot of them working for Postgres Professional now, who have been able to collect a lot of the needs, the database needs in Russia, and to provide a solution that helps meet those needs for customers. As you know, a database is a very critical part of the infrastructure for an IT organization, and the Postgres community works very hard to give a reliable, flexible database, and that database has been embraced dramatically by the Russian IT community in the past couple years. We went from having no events in Russia to now having 2 or 3 events every year in Russia. And this is just tremendously exciting. Another big change in the past year that I've noticed is that we've gotten much better coordination among the companies involved in Postgres. We have companies like my company, Enterprise DB in the United States, Postgres Professional in Russia, of course, Second Quadrant in Europe primarily, but also in other countries. We have NTT in Japan. We have several companies in Silicon Valley, and they're all now working. The big change I've seen is they're now working in a much more coordinated fashion to deliver features in Postgres. When they started, they didn't quite, every employee didn't quite understand that they were part of a much larger global community. They would say, I work for Postgres Professional, or I work for Enterprise DB, and I just have to worry about my company. But the big change that we've seen is that now the companies understand that I have to worry about my company, but I also have to worry about all of the other users in all of the other countries that are also using Postgres. And if you look at the features in Postgres 10 and the features coming in Postgres 11, you see a lot better coordination among those companies and some amazing research that's being done, primarily actually in Russia, to look at some innovative things that we can add to Postgres. One of the real innovations and creative ideas that Postgres has had have come from Russia, and fortunately we're continuing to see more and more of that creativity. And finally, I have the pleasure of not only visiting Moscow in this trip, but also going to Rostov-on-Don, Yekaterinburg, and Novosibirsk, where I hope to talk to Russian developers about their possible involvement with Postgres. Several years ago, I spoke at MIFI for 2 days, and 2 years later, I had speakers from MIFI speaking in San Francisco at Postgres conferences. So I'm hoping to go through these 3 more cities and also talk about Postgres and hopefully get more young developers excited about the potential of working on the Postgres project and the opportunity for them as individuals to become globally recognized, and for an opportunity for Russia itself to be globally recognized as a leader in creative database innovation. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. Ну хорошо.
Okay. Thank you, Bruce, for your welcoming remarks, and now let us get down to business. Sadly, Oleg Bartonov is still on his way from Europe, so Bruce had enough time to get here, and Oleg somehow got later. So his speech will be presented by 3 of us, with Ferdor and Alexander, but let me start with what we're going to have at this conference. So what we're going to have here is a working clicker, I hope. So we will have 2 days of speeches, presentations, and 1 day of master classes, but unlike our tradition, we decided to have master classes on the very last day, and it is accounted for by the fact that MSU will have a lot of students here, and we would not be able to host so many people here. And apart from that, we are going to have roundtables, one of IT education per se, another on databases, and education naturally should predict the future and train people for the future, so that is what one of our roundtable will be devoted to, and I hope we will have some interesting speeches and presentations there. And another roundtable will be devoted to digital economy and Russian IT, a multifaceted topic, but we will focus mostly on the most urgent matters in IT business that are called digital economy, and representatives of government agencies will be present there who are in charge of this area, and representatives of companies that act in this sphere as well. Apart from that, we will have also pitches tomorrow, and tonight we will also have a party, welcoming party. So as for these pitches, that will be a pitch for 5 minutes, and you have to sign for that on the flip chart. If you want to have presentations, you need to give them on a flash memory stick or send to me by this email, and 1 hour will be given to these 5-minute pitches. At the end, we will award certain prizes on 2 indicators, so to say. First of all, awarded by the audience, and you can vote for the presentation using this website, but you have to log in using your name of a conference participant, and there will also be a prize from the organizing committee. And please come to the closing ceremony, because there we will have a joint picture made. After the conference, all the papers will be accessible, and presentations will be accessible next day, and video will be accessible after certain processing. And as for further events, in April we're going to have Postgres Professional Partners meeting. Then in June we are going to have another major Russian conference, PG Day in St. Petersburg, and PGConf will also run several events in different cities of this country, but we have not specified the dates yet, so please follow the news, and we're going to have some events in Urals, Rostov-on-Don and Novosibirsk, most likely. And let me also introduce to you our partners who helped our conference to run. First of all, the main partner is Moscow State University, and thanks to university we were able to arrange this conference for free for students and faculty, and that is very good. And you can see that there is a lot of space here, which will be enough for everyone, I believe. And here are a lot of companies that also contributed to organizing our conference, so I would like to thank them all.